Okay, so just give me like quick bulleted, like what are your tips? Somebody is watching this and they want to run for senior class officer or any class officer this year. What are you going to tell them?
Okay, all about who you're sleeping with.
Oh my gosh. I've got to cut that out. Oh my gosh. Okay guys, it's Abby J and I've got my little brother Easton on the show.
Hello, and thanks for having me on, Abs.
I know, I'm like the show, my channel, this
I love
video.
it. I love it.
Because today we're talking about how to be a student body officer, how to be an SBO like class president. And one thing about my channel is I don't talk about things I don't know. And I never was a student body officer, but my brother was. And you were a student body officer your senior year?
Yeah, my senior year. So the class of 2014, I ran my junior year and then got up for my senior year. I tried multiple times and then finally got it that last little bit. So I was so excited and happy to be here to just talk with you and hopefully share some helpful tips for you guys so you guys can be successful as well.
And we got the jacket, which is like the funnest part of being
show it
up.
off.
So, okay, well, Easton here and I are going to be talking about how to run for student body officer, how like best tips and practices, and like get down to the realistics of like, is it worth it? Are you a good candidate? And like, how can you be successful in running for like being a student body officer? So let's dive into it. Okay, I actually wrote down some questions for you, East.
Please.
Okay, so what made you want to run to be a student body officer?
So I originally want to be a student officer when
Like your class?
Well, when I was in the 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a class officer. That's when I think they come into play. You always see them walking down the halls. They have the jackets. They look really cool. Usually well liked. And so I thought, you know what, that'd be so cool. I love the leadership, the service opportunities. So I thought that's what I want to do. So I ran in the 7th grade. Of course, didn't make it. And then I tried for an SBO, which is a student body officer, and then I was eventually a senior class president is what I got. So it took a few times, but I was able to make it.
Okay, and do you feel like, I mean, I remember I ran in 7th grade. I think everybody gets really excited right at first and you like, run. I didn't even make it past like the primary. Like,
I didn't make it far either.
So like, do you feel like every time you got closer, or was it just like your senior was the year? Like, how come 3 times the charm? Like, what was going on with that?
I definitely think every time I got a little bit closer. At first, you're blind and you have no idea what you're getting into. And then you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much that's a part of this that I didn't realize what was happening. And now I know. So next time I know more. Next time I know more. That last time why I didn't make student body officer is I had a whole bunch of U's on my report card. So I was tardy for a whole bunch of classes. So academically, I couldn't run, but I got that cleared just in time to make that last election.
Okay, so let's clarify that. So if you want to run for student body officer, what grade do you have to have?
I know there was a grade point average, a GPA, and I think it was a 3 something. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, maybe a 3. We'll
but
research.
there was different tardy. So for our schools at least, you have U's, which is if you're tardy for class. Your teacher's going to mark you down, and if you get so many, you have to work it off. Otherwise, you can't do extracurricular activities.
Okay, so first tip, I guess, would be make sure your GPA and your U's and tardiness are like in check.
Be
or you
on
can't
top
run.
of it.
Okay, so would you suggest to somebody then, like if you really want to be a senior class officer, or you're like, my junior year is it, should they run a couple years before? Or do you think somebody can make it on a one-time, one shot?
I definitely think you can make it on that one time, one shot. However, odds are always in your favor numerically if you go more than once.
Do you think people get like burned out if you run more than once? Or like personally, so my experience was I had a really good girlfriend who I felt like ran all the time, and maybe that's just my memory, maybe she really didn't. But I remember that like her senior year when she finally did make it and she was a like student body president or whatever, we all were like cheering for her because we were like, yay, you know, do it again. Or do you feel like kids are burned out? Like,
I definitely feel like it can go both ways. You can get burnt out. However, there's such a network of friends. You build so many close friends with teachers, with other students who are also doing this, with your fellow officers, that eventually it becomes, your friend group.
okay.
And so it feels so natural because you're like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my friends, and this is what we do. We put on assemblies for the school, and I think that's what makes it so appealing and so much fun, is it comes with a whole social network that is quite appealing.
So do you feel like to be successful at like being a student body officer, you need to be like super outgoing, super charismatic, or do you feel like there's room for maybe somebody who's a little bit more nerdy or somebody who doesn't fit the mold of what an SBO officer is?
Oh, of course. There's always those people who the students just love because they're who they are. They're themselves, and they're quirky, they're weird, but people love them and they want to see them in those roles. Davis starts. And so definitely you don't have to fit that mold. So absolutely happy.
Okay. Did you feel like when you ran your senior year, and I guess your junior into your senior, did you feel like you were gonna win, or were you like, I'm like gonna throw this out there?
It was stages. I mean, there was days I was like, oh my gosh, I totally got this in the bag. We're gonna win this. And then I remember them handing out the ballots, and my name was the very last on the list.
Oh, that sucks.
His last name Williams. And I just thought, oh my gosh, because if I was voting, I'd go, oh, I know him, I know her. Oh, look,
and then
I'm out of votes.
You're done, yeah.
You don't even make it to the last person on the list. So I was packing it in. I was like, I'm done. Like, there's nothing to go from here. But we made it still.
Tell me about campaigning. Do you feel like what like worked for you in the actual campaigning of I'm running for this, I'm going for it, what do I do now?
I think the most important thing when it comes to campaigning, number one, it just needs to be you. If this is something your friends came up with, if this is something your parents came up with, and it just doesn't feel right, that's because it's not right. It needs to be you. I definitely think you need to have your face on there so when people see it, they know exactly who you are.
Totally.
And if possible, really try to do something unique to stand out. So when they see your name, they're like, oh my gosh, there's that person who had that really cool campaign, and it just makes you more memorable.
Do you feel like it has to be funny or clever?
No. Mine was, I feel like, really simple.
Do you remember? I can't remember.
It was me in a stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah, we did that.
And my head was photoshopped on the stormtrooper, and that was it. And it just said, like, join the Empire, vote for Easton.
Okay.
And I was a stormtrooper. Like, it's so simple. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think as long as it has your name on it and your face, you're good to go.
And a tip in here from somebody who helped him campaign, because I was a senior when he was campaigning, Easton recruited everybody to help him.
For sure.
Me, my brother who had already graduated, my younger siblings, we all would come to the high school. We'd put his posters everywhere. I think you had friends that you gave flyers to and you said, please go give these out. Like, you recruited everybody to help you. You weren't,
for sure.
You weren't shy about that.
Many hands make light work.
Okay, let's get real about this question.
Okay.
And I honestly don't know what you're gonna say, but do you think it's a crapshoot? Do you think it's total, just like, you can do your very best, you can follow all these tips, and like, it's still out of your control?
First, I don't like the C word.
I'm
So
sorry.
I'm joking, can we start over? Stop, you're hurting me.
I have real questions.
Okay.
Do you like think it's pure luck, or you could do your very best? You could be the most popular kid in school and still not win the election.
Oh, absolutely. There are so many different variables that go into running to be any kind of official, especially in high school. It could be your friends weren't there at school that day when you were voting. It could be, so many different factors into it. I definitely think, obviously, you got to go give it your best chance, give your best shot. But when it comes down to it, you can't take it personal for that reason. There could be stuff that's beyond your control. Like I said, my name was very last on the ballot, and I thought, that's it. That's something I couldn't control at all. But honestly, that could have cost me the election. But
Really?
I was grateful it didn't.
That's awesome. Do you feel like why do you feel like you lost your other 2 times that you ran?
So the first one, my ad campaign, I went too far out there.
Yeah,
So I was caught
remember this.
cross-dressing. I dressed as a woman, and I was too ahead of the times. And people, they didn't see
We thought
the
it was
vision.
hilarious.
I
We
thought
did
it was funny, and it just turned into a whole nightmare. So definitely,
We had to take down your
Yeah.
posters.
Yeah, it
it
was bad.
basically he had to take down his posters, and so nobody even knew he was running. It was
I'm still scarred.
Yeah, that was
And then the second time, I ran into academic issues where I like had my stuff
right.
going, and then they pulled me aside and said, "Hey, we looked at your grades, your transcript, and you can't actually be running."
Oh, golly.
So
You're
heartbreak.
brave. Oh, you're brave. And then your senior year, when you did win, so I know that during your junior year, you were in a lot of different clubs and
Yes.
like groups. Do you feel like that was the secret? That was
Oh
what
yeah, absolutely, for
Okay.
sure. And I really put myself out there. I stood out in front of these classes, in front of these groups, and said, "Hey guys, I'm running to be class officer.
Wow.
Please vote for me. Please, if you have any mercy, please just send me a vote. I will take anything." And I
That's
think
really-
it really helped,
really
and I think
good.
that's what it takes. You just got to put yourself out there.
I think too, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like you came across really humble in asking for help. Like
Yeah.
you weren't like, "Hey guys, I'm not the most popular guy. I got this in the bag," but you were like, I want
Yeah.
this. And I think it's so scary in high school to say, I want this. You know, it's hard to put yourself
and
out there.
people respect that. If you have a friend that comes to you and asks for help, you're not going to say no. People really respect that. They like to help out others. And so, yeah, I think exactly what you said. It's really humble, and people are really responsive to it.
So, if somebody was watching this video and they want to run for, student body officer this year, what are your tips for them? Like fast, bulleted, what would you tell them to do right now?
Don't worry about being popular. What I want you to do is try to be friends with everyone you possibly can be with. We touched on being humble a little bit. That really comes off very likable, very charismatic. And so if you're friends with everyone, it doesn't matter necessarily if your friends are popular. What matters is that you get a wide variety of people to vote for you. So that would be my definitely biggest tip right there. Just be friends with everyone. Really seek out those people who are deemed unpopular, and then people just look over them, because they can be your best friends and your biggest supporters.
That's true. That's awesome. And the last question I have for you is, what is your advice for somebody who has run and they don't make it?
Don't let it get to you. Like we said, it can be a total crapshoot. You really don't know different factors that could come into play. There is so many different things that you can be involved in. So we had a senior class group, and 90% of them were people who had ran to be a class officer, didn't make it, but they were still with us. They still helped with assemblies. They got to be in videos.
Yeah.
They really got to help out and really do everything that we did. The only difference is we had a jacket. That was about it.
Okay. I know I always say final question and it's not, but this
Okay,
is
go for it.
one more question for you. Was it worth it? Would, looking back at that experience, you were like, absolutely it was worth all the struggle and the years of running, or was it kind of inflated and it wasn't worth it?
No, it was the best thing ever. I would do it again in a heartbeat. My only regret is I didn't do it sooner.
Really?
I should have ran sophomore year, freshman year, junior year. I should have ran all my years, because it was so much fun and I made so many friends and just really felt so connected. And it really made my high school experience just so much better.
Did you ever feel overwhelmed with how much you had to go to and all the events you had to be in charge of and the assemblies?
Oh, for sure. For sure. It really helped though. My senior year, I had taken a lot of my required classes, so I had a lot more elective classes.
Oh, okay.
So while there were still some harder classes, I was able to take a few more soft classes and really help supplement that load.
Okay. So maybe be aware that this is
yeah,
a really...
it is really demanding, and you got to be prepared for that.
Okay. How many hours a week were you doing on SBO stuff?
It depends. The start of the school year, probably 20.
Oh my gosh.
We built a flow, we had homecoming,
Yeah.
we had to do assemblies, you have to get the whole year, and then it really died down, and maybe it was an hour a week, 2 hours a week, really not a lot, and then at the end of the year it picked up again.
Okay. So one thing I knew about our school, and I honestly don't know if this was unique to our school, but so you won the election and you kind of went into a pool of the 4 people who won, and then the teachers picked your order, right? Who was president and then the rest of you were vice,
Exactly.
right? So what were your thoughts on that? Was there a way to be oh, I might be class president. How do I put these teachers over the edge?
You definitely have to make sure you're always kind to the faculty, because they do have a huge final vote in that. And so if they really don't like you, they're going to make sure you don't win.
Wow.
So you
Wow,
gotta
I
make
did
sure.
not
Well, if you're a
know
troublemaker,
That's
if they're like, oh my gosh, he just came out of juvie. you know,
really
You're probably
okay.
gonna run into some issues.
No way.
But maybe not. It really just depends on your advisor. Some are more chill, some are more strict. I definitely feel like ours were a little bit on the strict side.
Did you know the advisors before you ran?
Yes, but not well.
Okay, so you weren't like ground nosing
Yeah,
them or
no,
like.
no, not at all. But
Okay.
like, if I saw them, I would know who they are, and I think they know who I am. But besides that, that was the only relationship. I never had any of their classes before that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Easton, I'm so grateful.
Thanks for
you
having
would do
me,
this
Abby.
video with me.
Yeah.
I definitely like think everything that Easton said is really spot on, because as I was thinking about this video, I was like,
Yeah.
this is a topic I want to do. I asked you just like some tips,
No, absolutely.
and I was gonna just do a video, but then I was like, we need Easton on here. We need somebody who's actually done it, because I ran in 7th grade. I didn't even make it past, like, my name was on the list and people were like, oh, I voted for you, but I didn't even make it
Yeah.
past the first round. And I gave up. I just stopped. And I don't like to play what ifs. I don't like to go back to the past, but I think, well, like, what if I had ran again? Would I have a really cool jacket or not? Like, would I have those
Best.
experiences? So, you know, don't give up. Follow these tips and leave a comment down below if you are thinking of running for student body officer. I will answer it if I can. If I can't, I'm gonna go bug little brother over here and get his advice on it. So please like and subscribe for more videos on personal development, and best of luck this year in high school. So see
Good
you
luck,
in my-
guys. Thank you.
See you in my next video, babe. Abby J out.
Do you want me just to sit here, Abby? Oh, sorry.
Oh my
Let me just make sure my jacket doesn't get hurt at all. Davis darts. 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 Davis darts.